China's display of military might at yesterday's parade was a showcase of new weapons, drones and other hardware. Among them, the Guam Killer missile, loyal wingman drones and even robotic wolves. Here to tell us more is Sam Roggeveen, the Programme Director of the Lowy Institute's International Security Programme. Hi there, Sam.
Hi, Ros.
Overall then, what was your impression of the weaponry on display in Beijing?
Well, unusual in the sense of its scale, but also in China's willingness to display equipment that is either still in prototype or early development stage, or only just entered service. The Chinese are typically a bit shy about that, but this was a selective glimpse, not only into the People's Liberation Army that is operating today, but the one we're going to get into the future. And that is a military that is not just a follower, not just an imitator of leading Western military technology, but is an innovator and a leader. I would stress, though, that there are some geographical boundaries around this. So China is definitely strongest, closest to its own shores. And a lot of the equipment displayed yesterday, and in fact a lot of the new trends we're seeing in China's weapons development, is of weapons that make China the leading military power in China's near abroad, but with less emphasis on global military power projection.
Well, we highlighted a few of the weapons that were on display yesterday. Sam, let's start with the Guam Killer. What's that?
That's the DF-26. That's a missile system that we've known about for quite a few years. That's been in service a while now. It's sometimes called the Guam Killer because the island of Guam, where the United States has a heavy military presence. There's another version of that missile that's known as the Carrier Killer because it's a unique system in that it's a ballistic missile that can target ships when they're moving at sea. And so the main target there is American aircraft carriers. What it's all designed to do is to make the environment around China's coastline and a few thousand kilometres out from China's coast excessively dangerous for the US and its allies to operate in. And that in turn, I think, is a very bad signal for Taiwan. The military balance between China and Taiwan has shifted decisively in China's favour over the last couple of decades. The military parade yesterday, including the weapon system you referred to, just reinforced that trend.
There were a lot of drones on display too, weren't there, including the loyal wingman drones. Did you recognise that technology or anything new amongst that particular category of weaponry? And also the robotic wolves, are they as they sound?
Yeah, it's kind of exotic. I mean, the robotics there for ground operations are not particularly strategically significant. They're a slight novelty, but it's best to think of them as a kind of motorised pack horse, so designed to ferry injured personnel perhaps, or equipment or stores over difficult terrain where vehicles can't get in. But the much more strategically significant development yesterday was the revelation of 4 new stealthy drone designs. As you say, they're referred to in the Western defence parlance as loyal wingman drones. So these are drones that are designed to fly alongside manned aircraft and can be tasked by the crews on board the aircraft to undertake additional missions. Some of the designs actually might even be true unmanned aerial vehicles which can perform complete missions on their own using either ground control or perhaps even using AI to make decisions and perform missions without direct command from the ground.
So how cutting edge were the weapons on display compared to what the US and other Western nations have, Sam? Was there anything that you saw that really made you sit up?
Yeah, those drones in particular. I mean, there's nothing else like that in the world. So the United States has been much more tentative in its grasping of drone technology, in the sense that it is pursuing drones at much lower levels of technological sophistication. And the United States is a bit reluctant to take pilots out of aircraft. There's a strong pilot lobby in the US Navy and in the US Air Force, which is difficult to overcome. China doesn't face that kind of bureaucratic problem, and it is pursuing these opportunities at pace, and I think it has stolen a march on the United States and other Western countries.
Okay, so how's the sight of these weapons going down in the US, Sam, and elsewhere in the West? What are you hearing?
Look, I think there's a growing realisation that China is not just following and copying Western trends anymore. I mean, we've kind of been enculturated to this a bit in other areas of technology. Solar, for instance, electric vehicles, we're all aware of Chinese prowess there now. I think the same is true for military technology, and I think that truth is hitting home. What it means is that it is simply much more difficult for the United States to commit itself to defending Taiwan. As you get further away geographically from China, the picture changes, and China is still developing stronger capabilities to project power around the globe. The United States is by far the leading power in that regard, but the closer you get to China, the more favourable the military balance is towards China. And as I said, that's bad news for Taiwan. It's also bad news for those in Washington who believe that that Taiwan is a core security interest for the United States, because the US is simply not responding militarily to this dramatic shift in the military balance.
Sam Roggeveen, thank you so much for your time.
Great, thank you, Ross.